Here we go again. Another winter storm takes aim at the Bluegrass State over the next couple of days. It's going to bring a lot of wild weather. I'll have a breakdown just ahead.
I mean, the devastation was terrible. I'd seen some tornadoes in this county before, but nothing with this devastation.
It's been 3 years since a historic tornado outbreak in Kentucky. A look back at the lessons learned.
A Danville man at UK Hospital in critical condition after this house fire. A surprising condition considering what he did in the moments after the fire.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. We just can't seem to shake off winter. Another storm is on the way and more snow may slam the bluegrass again.
Could bring everything from heavy rain to sleet and heavy snow. We begin with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey, who's tracking it all on First Alert Defender. Chris.
It's another very high impact winter storm that is likely to hit the Bluegrass State over the next 3 days, and it will bring anything from flooding rains to significant snow and sleet accumulations. Here's the broad view on Defender to kind of put everything in perspective on where the storm is. It is still way away from us, but already now beginning to see clouds increasing across parts of the Ohio Valley. The initial surge of milder air means we got to watch out for some rain and thunder, and that could be some heavy rain leading to a flood threat as we go into tomorrow night into the first half of our Wednesday. By the time we roll into the second half of Wednesday, and especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning, significant snow and sleet accumulations will be possible as another round of Arctic air dives in from southern parts of Canada and the northern Rockies as of now. Out ahead of that, it's the heavy rain threat. Entire area under a flood watch during this time. Also, a winter storm watch is out for just about the entire state and much of the surrounding areas from Wednesday into early Thursday. Live First Alert Defender says nothing is out there this evening. Go about your plans. You're going to be in good shape with fair skies. Temperatures dropping into the upper 20s. Watch out for a little bit of refreezing out there, but that increase in clouds, the beginning of our developing storm system that again is going to throw a lot of water and the potential for a lot of snow and sleet our way. I'll break it down with the hour-by-hour forecast when I return in less than 15 minutes.
Thanks, Chris. Today marks 3 years since one of the biggest and deadliest tornado outbreaks in Kentucky. 18 tornadoes ripped through the state.
24 people were killed, with six of those happening in Laurel County. Miranda Combs talks to emergency management officials who were there March 2nd, 2012, about the lessons learned. It's our top story at 5:30.
Albert Hale has a variety of jobs as the emergency management director for Laurel County. Today he's loading a shipment of bottled water into storage, preparing for the next big thing. Having enough water on hand isn't the only thing on his mind. Today is the 3-year anniversary of a historic tornado pounding Laurel County with winds of up to 125 miles per hour.
On that day, they told us, you know, hey, it's not if, it's when you're going to be hit. It got tremendously dark for that time of afternoon, evening, and wind picked up, torrential rain.
Hale was near I-75 tracking the storm.
It came this way. Here's where it actually crossed I-75. I actually saw what I thought was twin funnels. I knew, you know, hey, it's here.
He says after spotting the funnels, he headed back to London and contacted dispatch.
They yelled at me and said some homes had been blown away just across I-75.
Numerous homes destroyed and 6 people dead.
I mean, the devastation was terrible. I'd seen some tornadoes in this county before, but nothing with this devastation. Yeah, it was a nightmare that came to Laurel County.
Looking forward, Hale says his department has learned some valuable lessons out of tragic events.
We put more plans in place. We've built relations with more mutual aid agreements, but I feel today we're more prepared today probably than we were then.
In Laurel County, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
More than 200 people across the state were injured by those tornadoes. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, we'll take you to Morgan County to get a look at how people are still rebuilding 3 years after the tornadoes destroyed many homes and businesses. Well, with the potential for some active weather tomorrow, a statewide tornado drill has been postponed. The drill will now be next Tuesday, March 10th at 10:07 in the morning. Kentucky emergency management officials say the change in date is due to the possibility of flooding tomorrow and the next round of winter weather that we're tracking right now.
A couple's home goes up in flames, destroying nearly everything they owned and killing their pet. The fire happened last night on Perkins Avenue in Danville at the home of Gerald and Ellis Mullins. As Phil Pendleton reports, the injuries Gerald Mullins suffered in the fire turned out to be worse than first thought.
It's always hard losing things that mean so much to you.
That's one thing that she said was her pictures, that her pictures were gone. She had a lot of pictures of family members that had passed on.
Gerald and Ellis Mullins also lost their beloved pet poodle.
It was named Midnight, so I think it was 16 years old.
The fire broke out about 7:30 Sunday night. Ellis was out with a friend. Gerald was home alone. Gerald Mullins walked from here to his home all the way to his cousin Rankin's home. It was a distance of at least a half dozen houses, and when he got there, Rankin says he knew that his cousin was in bad shape, but he had no idea just how bad off he was.
I could tell that he had burns on him by looking at him.
EMS took him to Danville's hospital, but he was quickly transferred to UK, where he's now in critical condition.
He is on a ventilator.
And how his cousin walked so far uphill in the cold after a devastating fire.
I don't know how he made it to my house, but he did.
Now he's said to be touch and go, while the family says they don't know how they're going to move on.
I feel heartsick for them, upset, and I'm just praying that the Lord will pull them through this time.
In Boyle County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The fire is under investigation by the Danville Fire Department. In Lexington, a track hoe catches on fire at a landfill while an employee was on it. Firefighters say a hydraulic line broke and sprayed the engine compartment. An employee was using the track hoe to move trash around the landfill at the time. Fortunately, the person was able to get off the vehicle before getting injured. Firefighters say the landfill was muddy and crews had to lay down extra hose lines so they could get to the fire. The track hoe is used to pull trash off the garbage trucks and dig up dirt.
Firefighters believe weather may have contributed to 2 accidents on Interstate 75 in Lexington today. The crashes happened before noon on the exit ramp coming from Man o' War Boulevard. Rescue crews say there may have been a little bit of black ice at the end of the ramp. Crews shut down the interstate while salt trucks treated the area. No one was seriously injured in the crashes. A man faces a slew of charges tonight after police say he tried to run away from the scene of a crash in Frankfort. State police tell us that one of their troopers saw 29-year-old Edward Couch hit a vehicle with his car on US 127 and then run off on foot. The trooper chased Couch and caught him. Couch was treated for some minor injuries and then taken to jail. No one else was injured in that crash.
A 5-month strike at Bluegrass Station Army Depot may be coming to an end. The Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service says a tentative settlement has been reached. The strike began on October 1st. At that time, workers were being asked to take at least a 30% pay cut. The details of the proposed agreement have not been released. Bluegrass Station provides supplies for U.S. Army Special Forces. A big announcement from Midway College today. As of July 1st, the college will become Midway University. For the past 6 months, the college has been working on a new branding effort. It'll have a new logo, new website, and new recruitment materials. School leaders hope the new website will go live in July.
Here is one more reason why you need to do your homework before you invest your hard-earned dollars. As Sam Dick reports, there are scam artists out there who are eager to drain your accounts.
I did give him the money, and then I pretty much never heard from him again.
This woman, who wants to remain anonymous, is talking about Stephen Burks, a smooth-talking con man who she met through a friend who convinced her to invest.
He's been doing really good things for me. He's made me a lot of money. Why don't you try him out, basically?
So she gave Burks $30,000.
Because he seemed to be so generous with my friend that there's no way he could be a bad person, which was obviously wrong.
He would befriend his victims and then convince them to invest either in phony stock investments, foreign exchange, some real estate transactions. He had a whole bag of various tricks, but all of them were scams.
This victim was not alone. Burks stole more than $1.3 million from several investors.
He really didn't have a legitimate business, and just a simple cursory Google search would have turned up some red flags that something isn't adding up here.
But his victims didn't do their homework, and Burks knew how to lure them in.
He would win over their trust. And of course, as soon as he did, he would flip on them and betray that trust. So it's troubling to see somebody do that, and you really feel sorry for the victims because they really thought this was somebody they could trust. This was a friend. And it turns out that he was only interested in taking their money.
Even though your friend may know them, you can't take other people's word and trust people that you yourself really don't know.
That was Sam Dick reporting. Burks was sentenced to more than 9 years in prison and ordered to pay nearly $1.4 million in restitutions to his victims. Some advice from postal inspectors: do your research before turning your money over to anyone.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
U.S. Senator Rand Paul hopes to use his straw poll win as leverage to move Kentucky from a presidential primary to a caucus.
And all 4 of the Republican candidates for governor get together over the weekend. Bill Bryant tells us what they had to say in the bottom line.
Good evening. Kentucky U.S. Senator Rand Paul hopes he's on a roll after winning a straw poll among a key group of Republicans over the weekend. Paul finished first in the Conservative Political Action Committee's presidential preference vote. The Kentucky freshman GOP senator got nearly 26% of the vote. Finishing second was Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, followed by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who finished third. Paul will try to use that momentum when he meets with the Kentucky Republican Committee this week and pushes to move Kentucky from a presidential primary to a caucus for 2016. That would allow Paul to run for the White House and seek re-election to the Senate at the same time. There will be a special election tomorrow in Kentucky's 27th Senate District after longtime Democratic Senator Walter Doc Blevins resigned to become the Rowan County Judge Executive. The Republican is Millersburg lawyer and cattle farmer Steve West, the Democratic nominee Maysville attorney Kenny Caudle. Polls will open at 6 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. in all or parts of Harrison, Bourbon, Nicholas, Robertson, Mason, Fleming, Lewis, and Rowan counties. All 4 of the Republican candidates for governor appeared at a Lincoln Day dinner over the weekend in northern Kentucky. CN2 reports Matt Bevin told the crowd his business background makes him the best choice to bring in jobs and deal with the state's pension problems. Agriculture Commissioner James Comer noted that he quickly called for an audit of the Ag Department, says he would bring that same kind of scrutiny to the entire executive branch. Former Louisville Councilman Hal Heiner said Kentucky is losing out to other states with better economic strategies. And former Supreme Court Justice Will T. Scott promised an all-out effort on drug issues that plague the state. In Frankfort, lawmakers have only 5 legislative days left with big issues on the table, including the heroin epidemic, car seat rules, and teachers' pensions. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
This winter has led to a shortage of blood donations in the Bluegrass State.
The Kentucky Blood Center says the recent weather has hit their blood supply hard since many drives have been canceled. So starting this week, to encourage people to donate, donors will get a T-shirt. They can pick between a My Blood Type is Wildcat Blue shirt or a My Blood Type is Cardinal Red shirt.